Have you ever stared at your phone, wondering if he's hurting even half as much as you are? Wondering if he lies awake at night thinking about what went wrong, or if he just moved on, unbothered, while you're left drowning in questions with no answers? Women are taught to feel, to express, to ache openly. But what about him? Does he even feel anything? Or is his silence proof that he never cared? Let me tell you something that may surprise you. Some of the deepest emotional suffering in relationships happens in silence. And men? They often suffer the most, alone, unseen, and without the tools to process it. But this isn't about feeling sorry for him. This is about understanding what really happens inside a man when love starts slipping through his fingers. Because when we understand that, we begin to see ourselves more clearly too. We stop carrying pain that was never ours to hold. We stop blaming ourselves for silence that wasn't rejection but confusion or shame. See, as women, you've been conditioned to internalize heartbreak, to analyze it, talk about it, seek closure. Men? They're often taught to bury it, to replace love with distraction, to armor their emotions in ego because vulnerability feels like weakness. He might not text, he might not cry, he might even look like he's thriving, but deep down, he's unraveling. Not all men suffer and not all women heal outwardly, but the truth is this: emotional pain wears different masks, and when you understand what hides behind his silence, you'll stop blaming yourself for the way he disappeared. You'll begin to reclaim your power, your clarity, your calm. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how men process relationship pain and why it so often looks like detachment when, in reality, it's silent devastation. You'll learn how to stop tying your worth to his reactions and how to begin living, healing, and rising for you. Let's start with the first emotional truth. When a man starts pulling away, it rarely means he doesn't care. It often means he doesn't know how to. Most men were never taught the language of emotions. Carl Jung understood one deep truth. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. A man who disappears without explanation isn't always cold. He may simply be emotionally illiterate. He may not know how to face the vulnerability that comes with pain, conflict, or love he doesn't feel worthy of. When a relationship ends, women often go inward. They journal, cry, call friends, analyze what went wrong. They sit with their pain, even when it's unbearable. But men? They often run from it. Not because they're heartless, but because they've been taught that emotional pain makes them weak. They don't have the same emotional structures we've been encouraged to build. So instead of healing, he distracts. He dives into work, he jumps into another relationship, he parties, he pretends. But just because a man is silent doesn't mean he's okay. In fact, silence can be a man's loudest scream. It's where his emotional walls are the highest and where his self-worth is quietly eroding. And while he might not reach out, he's not untouched by the absence. He feels it, he just hides it. Let's talk about ego. Male ego is fragile, especially in love. When a man feels he's failed you or lost you, the shame he feels can be unbearable. But instead of processing that pain and coming clean, he may withdraw, blame, or shut down. Why? Because he doesn't know how to integrate rejection with identity. Carl Jung would say he's trapped in his shadow, the unconscious part of him that holds insecurity, guilt, and fear. And when that shadow gets triggered, he protects himself by disconnecting from you and from himself. So what do most women do in this silence? They text more. They apologize, even when it wasn't their fault. They overgive. They chase. They try to fix it, because they believe the silence means they did something wrong. But here's the dark truth. That energy only pushes him further away. It feeds his ego, not his heart. Why? Because when a man is emotionally unavailable, your love feels like pressure, not peace. Your effort reminds him of what he cannot offer. And the more you try to reach him, the more he pulls back. Not because he doesn't love you, but because he doesn't know how to love you in a way that holds you. So what do you do instead? You stop chasing. You reclaim your energy. You become the emotional mirror he never had. That doesn't mean you play games or pretend not to care. It means you show with calm power that your value doesn't depend on his presence. You take your power back by creating space. Space is not distance, space is clarity. When you step back, you give him the gift of reflection. Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." When you stop pouring into him, he begins to confront what he's been avoiding, his own inner void. Now here's where it gets interesting. In male psychology, the chase instinct is very real. Men are wired to pursue what they feel could be lost. Not manipulated, but lost. If you're always available, always explaining, always forgiving, he never has to feel your absence. And without that feeling, there's no awakening, no shift, no motivation to grow. Women often confuse love with fixing. If I just show him how much I care, he'll come back, he'll change. But that's not how masculine psychology works. Men don't grow from being saved, they grow from space, loss, and accountability. When a man truly loses you, not just physically but energetically, something cracks open inside him. It doesn't happen instantly, but in the silence he begins to feel. And feeling is the beginning of transformation. Imagine this metaphor. A beautiful, warm light is always shining in a room. At first it comforts him, he takes it for granted, it's always there. But one day that light turns off. He walks in and it's cold, dark, empty. That's when he realizes he misses the warmth. Not because it was loud, but because it was sacred. That light is you. And the darkness he now sits in is his emotional reckoning. Here's what I want you to remember. You are not the fixer. You are the mirror. When you step into your power, silently, gracefully, unshakably, you become the very thing he didn't know he needed. A reflection of truth. And in that truth, something begins to stir in him. Not all men will rise to meet it. But the ones who do, they're the ones who finally understand what they almost lost. And sometimes, what they truly needed all along wasn't a woman who tried harder, but a woman who chose herself. And here's the truth you may not want to hear, but deeply need to. You were never meant to fix him. You were meant to choose yourself. You were meant to be a mirror, not a martyr, to reflect his emotional truth, not carry his emotional weight. Because the moment you stop begging, explaining, proving, is the moment you begin to reclaim your wholeness. And that reclamation, that's where your healing begins. Not from getting him back, but from finally remembering who you are. There's something profound that happens when a woman stops chasing and starts being. Not in bitterness, not in ego, but in truth. A calm, clear, grounded truth that says, I am no longer abandoning myself for someone who doesn't know how to show up. And the irony? That's when his pain often begins. Because men suffer differently, quietly, later. They don't process emotions in real time. They bury, they distract, they detach. But weeks, even months later, when the silence lingers and your energy is no longer there, that's when regret begins to surface. That's when they finally feel what they couldn't access before. And while they suffer in solitude, you evolve in self-love. You rise from the ruins not just healed, but transformed. Because the truth is, your heartbreak was never a punishment. It was a redirection. A call back to your essence. A chance to become the woman who doesn't need to be chased, because she walks in such radiance that only the aligned can follow. So now take a breath. You don't have to fix him. You don't have to chase him. You don't even have to hate him. Just return to you, stand in the stillness, and let the silence do what your words never could. You are not too much. You were never not enough. You were simply waiting for the moment when your own love would finally be louder than your longing. That moment is now. If this touched your heart, subscribe and become part of a community that speaks your truth. Tell me in the comments, what was your turning point? The moment you stopped chasing and started choosing you. And if there's a woman you love who needs this message, share this with her. You are not alone. You are deeply seen, and you are finally free.